mentorship, as I said, it does come up. So coming up as one of the early things that you attribute to your success. For those looking to find a mentor, maybe newer to the industry and maybe struggling with that, how to go about that, any advice for them on how to find a great mentor?
It's interesting. You don't. One, I think everyone needs to network. Kind of up and down. Kind of in the ordinary course, and that really needs to be a discipline and skill. And quite frankly, it wasn't one of my disciplines and skills. Kind of growing up. But I think about mentors that I had. Kind of at different points. Kind of in my life. They weren't my boss. Right, it was never my boss. It was one or two steps, kind of above that my boss gave me an opportunity to engage with, kind of, or listen to, or experience, kind of in the context, kind of transactions. And again, it's sort of random. It's almost happenstance. You can't force it, but it actually becomes a natural bond, and you see it, kind of when it works. And so I think this is a little bit of where we always say teams win and individuals lose. Right. Being part of a team gives you exposure to those people that can demonstrably impact your career trajectory and your opportunity set. And that's what you want. You just want the opportunity to show.
Any other tips on how to go about networking? Is it events? Is it LinkedIn? Is it opportunities that come in? Talk a little bit through that.
I like personal interaction, so it's for me it's events. I like to go to networking events, conferences. And don't say no to maybe an event is not very relevant to what I do, but just go. You at least you'll have one or two interesting conversations. So again, what's the worst that could happen? You will go meet a couple of people that you have interesting conversations with and leave. But there's nothing. But for me, it's purely personal, interpersonal, one-on-one, face-to-face. So I love networking events.
Perfect. And to build a meaningful relationship, you touched on trust and you touched on knowledge. But after you've met those people at events, what tactics do you use to build a long-term relationship? Are there certain things you do each time?
No, but if you, let's say, for example, you talk to someone who is managing a company and he was telling you that he was looking for someone to head their HR department, for example. And keep a mental note of that so that if you come across someone who's into human resources, who's like looking for a job or something, make that connection. So keep mental notes of what people need, and then make sure that whenever an opportunity comes so that you can help them with that, this is what builds good relationships. So don't just have the conversation on a shallow basis. Have a real conversation.
Yeah, it really resonates with me. I think you're right. Obviously, the preparation is key, and then knowing what you want to get out of that situation, as you say, that what's the takeaway? What are you trying to achieve? And if you can't achieve that, then what can you? So I love that. That's great advice. And you talked about preparing, and obviously the power of LinkedIn as an example for that compared to maybe the more old-fashioned ways. What are you looking to prepare exactly? Again, advice for those listening newer to the industry. What sort of things make good preparation for you?
Yeah, no, so in terms of new clients or new deals, it's not that dissimilar, right? It just takes a different sort of level of intensity to it. Clients are generally public. They're generally very open, very visible. So you're doing the basic work, right? To start it, right? You need to read their transcripts, and read their annual report, read some of their recent press releases, etc., to kind of come up with a story. But it's also important, when you're on the phone with them, not to just regurgitate what you learned. Hey, I saw you announced a 70 cents increase in your dividend. The guy or the CEO, the person, that is not the most important thing you did. But I think you just have to get the story of what they're about, what they have done, the big picture kind of, hey, you started 10 years ago and you've grown the company this much, and seems like, your next evolution is XYZ. But I'm peppering that preparation that I've done in my conversations. In fact, I never mentioned that I read anything about that person. I bring it up as if it's my idea and say, you know what? I think the dividend increase that is is a great idea. And a lot of my clients are doing it, just knowing that he just did it. So he'll actually appreciate that because he obviously believes me. But I don't want to say that, hey, I saw your press release and and that great job, right? So I almost internalize what I learned in my mind, make a story of it, and then use the data points of that story through a very natural conversation.